And we're on air live.
Sweet.
Okay, okay. So then we're gonna roll the music and everything, and we're gonna go. Hey, greetings, Earthlings! Welcome to the Soapbox, episode 6, recorded on April 23rd, 2016. This is your source for people who care about issues of our planet. And welcome, everyone. I am Ardell Smith, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And I'm here with.
Charles Hall, and I want to help you. And I don't just want to help you, I want to help you reach whole health through imagination and self-reflection.
Hey, those are good qualities there. Those are good things. All right,
Yeah,
so let's get this soapbox rolling. All right, since it's a box, it just kind of stands there and just speaks out to us. Okay, so this week on this week's soapbox, we're going to be talking about Earth Day that just went by, some sleep, some water, and some all important news. Okay, so to get started on today's soapbox, we're actually sorry about that, Charles. You're gonna have to do a little editing. Can you hear the dogs? For
yeah,
those
I
of you
can.
who are unaware, I do have dogs.
Yeah, I can.
Now, okay, first segment. So you'll edit up to that point. First segment. The vegan soapbox, ladies and gentlemen. We're up to the vegan soapbox. And this week in today's vegan soapbox, we're going to be talking about a little story about a video. The video is called Six Scenarios a Mother Should Never Experience. And Charles just watched the video before the show. Personally, I have a very hard time watching the video. Um, the video covers man's treatment to animals, or more his uncaringness in the whole animal situation, because you have these animals that have basically just given birth or have recently given birth, and then just separated from the child, um, or the rest of the flock, or whatever the situation is. It's just really sad, in my personal opinion. Charles, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was depressing. I don't know what else to say.
It's so depressing. Okay, yeah, yeah, it is depressing, and I that's actually one of the reasons that I became a vegan, or went to uh, vegetable uh, veg, vegetable diet, where basically everything
Plant-based
I eat
diet.
is, yeah, plant based. There it is. Plant based diet is because of the treatment cruelty to animals. Now I know there are people who say things like, well, aren't there farmers that, like, humane farmers? In Yeah, okay, so if you look at it this way, there are several different types of farmers. There's like the big industrial farmer, where they just treat the animals horribly from basically birth to death, right?
Hmm.
And it's just really terrible. And then there are people who say, but aren't there like farmers who don't do that? And it's like, yes, okay, so here's the difference. The farmers that don't do that, I understand what they're trying to do. They try to give the cow or the pig a good life. They let it go out and frolic and in the fields a little more open. They're not kept in a box. They've gotten a better quality of food, and then one day the farmer uh, takes the animal into a room and then just kills it. And to me, that's almost like if you had a friend that you hung out with, and you did stuff with, and they got to trust you, and you're my friend, and they go, yeah, yeah, and then they go, hey, want to see my comic book collection? And you go, sure. And then you go in the room and then they freaking cut your throat.
So, I know, what are you trying to say?
I'm saying there's
You want to
nothing
show me your
humane.
comic book collection?
No, I don't even have that anymore. I sold it.
Right.
But no, my whole point is that to me that's not humane either. I mean, you've just basically uh, lulled this person or this animal into a sense of security of feeling good and comfortable, and then you turn on them, you betray them like some kind of enemy spy or something. It's just terrible. So I don't eat meat or chicken or fish anymore because of that. So
I have a question, Ardell.
go ahead, question away.
What do you think technology has to play? What role does technology have to play in converting the population into plant-based eaters?
Okay, so because people have been, in my opinion, this is all my opinion. Okay, so if you want to question anybody about this, it's me. These are my opinions. Okay, we as human beings have been eating meat for so long that it is really hard to break us of eating meat. Okay, um, it's like built into our subconscious. It's like, but my parents ate meat, and their parents ate meat, and their parents ate meat. So I must eat meat. And it's like, well, I really don't think so. And I think that with today's technology, people can sustain themselves without having to eat meat. You may have some sort of personal issue, like maybe a health thing that you believe that you have to eat meat, but that's something that you've got to work out between you and your doctor. I'm not saying that obviously everybody's going to switch to a meatless diet tomorrow, but what I'm hoping for is that as each day passes, more and more people take a step towards that direction until we're all on that
So
same ship.
digging in a little bit more onto the technology idea and topic,
Well,
how
technology technology can help by being able to produce products that are more acceptable to people who eat meat. So I know that some vegans don't like it. They don't like the sausages, the vegan sausages,
Mhm.
because it looks like meat to them. And the thing is, that's what it's supposed to look like, because we're trying to get the people who want meat to at least try this. And if you can find a combination that you like, then you'll probably stick to it. That's why you see vegan patties. That's why they're always trying to make a lot of vegan foods look more like meat in order to make it more acceptable for people who eat meat to try.
So you're kind of talking about technology and the processing of plant-based stuff to emulate meat.
Exactly.
So that's kind of related to people easing into what they would see as an extreme
Yes.
to help them along because it's the subconscious connection and then the anthropological genetic memory that we have with eating meat.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, because when you really look at it, eating meat is really, once it gets past your tongue, as far as your feelings are concerned, it's the same as anything else that's gone past your tongue. It's just some sort of mass. So the only thing that meat really has is the texture, its taste, and its look and its smell. Okay, so if you can capture those items off of meat and emulate them into some sort of vegetable form, so that your eyes accept it as being meat, the texture feels like it's meat, and it even somewhat tastes like meat, then once it's past that portion, it's just a substance in your body.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about, Mark Zuckerberg had this keynote at the F8 developer conference. Did you see that video?
No, I hadn't seen that one.
Well, it's a little, I mean, it's kind of more on the technology part, but his goal in 10 years I don't know if it was 10 or 5 or 10 years, but he wanted to connect the whole world. A goal for him and his crew, when Facebook was getting started 10 years ago, he was, let's get to 1 billion people. And they were like, that is just shooting for the moon and trying to get to the street light. You shoot for a really, really high goal, and then on the way there, you get to a really great place.
Hmm.
And the surprising thing to Mark Zuckerberg and all of his company, his employees, we actually got to 1 billion, and we're at like 1.15 billion people. And so then came the 10-year plan ahead, and he was thinking, let's go for the whole world. It's like, we can do it. We can create technology that we'll be able to use in places that don't have infrastructure laid down yet, in impoverished areas, Africa and Asia and the Pacific Rim, and et cetera. So there's new kinds of technology like a solar plane, which is going to be able to give Wi-Fi. These very, very lightweight carbon fiber solar planes that fly around the Earth to give Wi-Fi to everybody on very simple, low cost, low battery usage phones. So everyone's going to be able to get connected. So I was thinking along the lines of this. So how can technology spread throughout the world and provide an avenue for people to, maybe through some biotech or through some making the nutrients of vegetables more available and more beneficial to us? Like, you have companies that chop vegetables up, dehydrate them, remove the water, and then encapsulate it so the shelf life is longer and you get all of the beneficial pigments and nutrients in one simple capsule that you have to swallow. So I was thinking, how can technology really, really get the most nutrition out of plants and any other, I guess, basically plants,
Okay.
and so that we can thrive more? So that was kind of the avenue I was going.
Okay. No, I understand. See, the thing with like actual tech like Facebook, things like that, that's something that doesn't exist, so it's easier to get people to adopt to it. Whereas this is you trying to change people's internals, like how they internally think. So it's going to be a lot harder. In order to get everyone to change, this is what I think is going to have to happen. Someone's going to have to come up with a fast food restaurant that is the equivalent to a McDonald's as far as cost goes, but
Mm-hmm.
using absolutely no meat products. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And what will happen is people will go to that because it's affordable. And then other people will see that people are getting healthier from eating that way.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll start going there more and more. And the more of those chains you have, the better it is. So basically, if you can get technology to produce the quantities and at the cost level that food is produced at McDonald's, you know, then I think you could destroy McDonald's and Burger King and all of those
Or
if you
just
could
the meat
just crack that.
industry, the meat industry, and
Yeah, in general. See, because like a lot of people who feel like they have to eat at McDonald's, when you ask them, well, why don't you eat more of a plant-based diet? They immediately look at it and say, well, it's too expensive. I can't afford it. Because the quality of the vegetables, like the good quality vegetables, are at stores that a lot of people can't afford to go to, like Whole Foods and other stores like that are high end. When you go to Safeway or Lucky's or any of the middle to lower end stores that are more for the general populace, they don't have the variety of vegetables, of fresh vegetables that you can get at some of the higher end stores. So I think
well, actually,
it's a
I
cost.
beg to differ. I mean, there's a few things you can get more at Whole Foods, but Safeway actually has a lot of what you can get at Whole Foods. I'd say actually, but the ones at Safeway, they're mostly conventional, so they're sprayed, and they only have a small little section that is organic, and those are sometimes more expensive than Whole Foods because they
Yeah,
actually
they
have to
okay.
go to the extra trouble of getting it, and they don't have connections that Whole Foods has with organic farmers. I mean, this might be actually a little bit of BS, but that's been my experience with very particular things. Like when I look at a little tray of raspberries, it's always, I think, $4.99 or $3.99, or blueberries are always $5.99 or $4.99, And at Whole Foods, yes, it's that price, but then they have deals. They give you like two or three for this price. But at Safeway, they never have bulk
They
deals.
never offer you deals. Okay, well, okay, I'll let you have that one. Um, I personally think that people get great deals at farmers markets,
Oh yeah, that's the gold standard right there for me.
but I also think that a lot of people are afraid of farmer markets.
Why?
Well, it's okay. It's like
I
when
don't
you
want to go to the farmers market today.
well no,
Please.
it's okay. It's like when you go to the farmers market and you look at the people who are there. Most of those people are very local. They're very aware of the farmers market, and most of them do not like try to get other people to come with them. I mean, they're just segments of society that you never see at the farmers market. Trust me, you just don't see them there. And if you ask them about it, they'll look at you like it's crazy. I'm not going to a farmers market. It's like they have no real idea. And I think as a society we've gotten to the point where we're not as involved with other people. Like it used to be, there was a time where people went to the market together, not like just your family. It was like um, uh, and this is like going way back. You could actually find areas where like say two families that lived out in rural America, but they were relatively close. They would all just go to the market together. Sometimes they were there to sell stuff, and sometimes they were there to buy stuff as well. Um, I think that we as a society have lost a lot of community, and I think having community again, involvement in community, would help us
Yeah,
to.
and I think some people blame technology actually for the diverging community and everything. And I think yeah, it's a double-edged sword. It brings us together, but it also separates us in a way. And I think there's all kinds of different things that are popping up that are just making what seems such a separated society actually more connected in ways that
Yeah,
people never could have imagined. And also the other thing I want to add on top of that is the better technology gets, the less of it you need. So it actually will be more seamless. And it'll actually, in my opinion, might have a combination of regressing back to the way it was before, but also being more advanced at the same time. And that's very vague and very
no.
theoretical, but
That's
it's
not
just something
vague. I,
that's in
I know
it's
exactly
in
what
my
you're
head.
talking about. I'll give you a perfect example of what you just mentioned. When I was a kid, televisions were in this huge box, but the screen was like that big. But the box was huge, and also in that box was like the radio and record player, and the speakers were built in, right?
Right.
And time went on and people started separating all those little individual products and making them their own product, their own individual products. And you had like tape players, the Walkman, and it got smaller and smaller and smaller. Everything got smaller. And then television started getting bigger. The screens started getting bigger. People started figuring out how to make the screens bigger. Now, when you look at that stuff, you walk into a store, you see this monstrous 60-inch screen, right?
Mhm.
In a really thin package, but also in that same package is your stereo system, your speaker system, your amplifiers, your even your computer is in there now, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's now everything is now merged back into one huge monstrous device again. But now the smallest component is the largest component because the TV screen used to be the smallest component. Now it's the largest component on the entire device.
But it's like it sucked everything else of technology-wise out of your space, right? Because
Yeah,
it's densely
exactly. So,
convenient, so
so all that
it's become
technology that
bigger.
separated out
Sorry,
got
what?
sucked. All that technology that got separated out got sucked right back in. So, so now you have one device again. So,
Yeah, someone out there should make a video that basically summarizes all that. It makes it look really really cool, like some kind of
yeah.
sci-fi.
Watch it like a black hole where the TV is a black hole. Everything
There you go.
separates out and then it gets sucked right back in.
It's like the history of TV in 10 seconds.
Yeah. So, let's see. Do. Oh, I had to look to see where we're at. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the healthy soapbox. And in the healthy soapbox, we're gonna be hearing about Earth Day, sleep, and water from Charles. So, Charles, tell me, tell me about Earth Day, sleep, and water.
All right. So people sleep on Earth, and Earth is made of 60% water. All right, done. Let's go.
Well, wait a minute. Aren't people made of 60% water? Or no, what is our percentage of water?
Yeah, it's around there.
Okay,
I just
so
put most because everyone's heard
so
everyone's heard that statistic.
yeah, and we only use
I'm
10% of our brain.
95% water.
We're 60% water, and we use 10% of our brain.
I was actually going to comment on the title of the segment because right before this we did the vegan soapbox, and now we're doing
Ah,
the healthy soapbox. And
yeah. Well, I
it made me think for a second: is vegan separate from being healthy? Huh.
no. The vegan soapbox actually is about like why you should be vegan or things that are vegan.
Yeah.
You should be vegan because this is a horrible thing that happens to animals. As a matter of fact, don't worry, we'll put that link in the description for the video for those of you who want to catch the video and watch it. And we're going to try to slip it into the show. But tell me, Charles, tell me about Earth Day.
Tell you about Earth Day.
Yeah, because that was
Okay.
yesterday.
Yeah, and I just to get my words straight and clear and crisp, just like a fresh bag of vegan potato chips, which are vegan anyways. It's kind of redundant to say it's vegan. I actually looked up an article on livescience.com on the history of Earth Day, which kind of covers a few of the historical developments around why we have Earth Day today. And it's interesting because I actually have a specific story to connect this, to make it more personal and relatable to me, which I love doing because people that know me and have been around me for a while kind of know that I get into myself a lot. And I'm glad that they find it humorous, and I'll know when they aren't finding it as funny anymore, when they stop laughing and they stop making eye contact. So anyways, this is livescience.com. The link is going to be in the show notes. And this is Earth Day Facts History. And the story that I want... Oh, Siri. No, Siri, I don't want to talk to you right now. I guess Siri thought I said her name. And I keep saying her name, so I should stop. Okay, so I went to school at UCSB, University of California, Santa Barbara. And I remember I was like, oh yeah, this is a really, really great campus. And it's right next to the beach. And I can go to the beach every day. It's going to be great. And I remember going on the beach one day, and I was walking around, and I was like, oh wow, these rocks are protruding through the sand. We must be close to the bedrock where this beach is. And I looked a little bit closer, and then I noticed my feet were covered with this black tar. And I was like, what the heck? And it literally took me days to get it off. But I found out that there are quote unquote natural oil beds near the shore. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is just a lot of oil that naturally comes up from the ground all on its own and washes up on shore is there. And then I found out that there was a really bad oil spill in 1969 right off
Mm-hmm.
the coast. And of course you could see, not I don't know how far away, but somewhat far away, but you can still see it. It kind of looked like four pirate ships on
Yeah, you can see
the horizon.
the
Oil rigs.
oil rigs.
Yeah. And so obviously what the spin was, natural oil beds that are putting oil out on the shore. And nope, there was actually an oil spill. And this oil spill actually led to, and I'm trying to make sure I get his name right, Nelson, something Nelson. Trying to find this. Yeah, Senator Gaylord Nelson of Wisconsin. And yeah, there you go.
Gaylord.
Yeah, laugh away. So he started a grassroots event to help raise awareness around the pollution that ensued, the massive oil spill in Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay. So he's the
And
one who brought the awareness.
right, and that's essentially what Earth Day is. It's to help celebrate the planet and the environment, and to raise public awareness about pollution.
That's
And
good.
the first official Earth Day was in 1970, I guess within a year after the oil spill. And they, basically these days, I'm trying to find what exact statistics of what it is today. And with the staff of 85, 20 million. Wow, in 1970 they were able to rally 20 million people across the U.S. So today it's, yeah, here we go. Earth Day continued to grow over the years. Earth Day 2000. In 2010, for the 40th anniversary of Earth Day, in the National Mall in Washington, D.C., 225,000 people gathered. And then it's celebrated all over the U.S. So millions of people are participating in Earth Day activities and all kinds of ways to make our planet more clean. And obviously, we are our environment. And I think there's this like I don't know, Ardell, are you familiar with epigenetics?
No. Is that anything like Scientology?
No, that's Dianetics. Good one. Yeah, so it's basically your genetics are the pen that writes on the paper. You can't erase the pen. Your epigenetics are the pencil, and it's the expression of your genetics.
Ah.
And so you can erase it. You can actually express, your genes can express themselves in different ways. And it's a reflection of your, 10% is a reflection of your inherent genetics in your body. And the rest, I might be getting this wrong, but the rest is actually an expression of your environment and where you live, what you eat, the air you breathe, the stress you experience, the community you're a part of, the emotions you experience, all kinds of different things. And so that's why I think there's a huge connection between taking care of your environment and your own personal health. And that's one thing that I am a huge advocate of. And I think this, the other thing I wanted to mention around this is I volunteered for a website called artworksforchange.org. And they were combining the sphere of art and the general creative mode that people can get in, making art pieces and sculptures and even attire, dresses, gowns. And they took pictures and then all these pictures were organized on this website, artworksforchange.org. And there's this exhibition they released on Earth Day yesterday, which showed all of these artworks which made a statement about the environment, our connection to it, or the current state it's in, and just raising our awareness. The whole raising our awareness about pollution and celebrating the environment. And this
Hey,
is
you
what
put a
this.
link for that in the show, I hope.
Yep.
Good.
Artworksforchange.org. And so that's kind of my brief take on the whole Earth Day thing.
That's great. Now, I know that one of the things I know of you is that you're big into the sleep thing. You did some speeches in Toastmasters regarding sleep and how
Hmm.
important it is and things like that. So I know you wanted to touch on that. So Charles, tell me, how important is sleep?
Well, no joke, Ardell. No joke from me for this. It's very, very important. And I remember our mutual friend Puneet. He had this revelation, I think, and he said this to me at, I think, at a Toastmasters meeting. And he wasn't talking to me, but I was in his vicinity, and he was kind of mentioning that, sleep. I used to think sleep was something you could just make up on the weekends, or sleep was just something that you could, it's secondary. The day is important. But he was saying, no, actually what I found out was sleep, if you take away from it, you lose that much from your day the next day. So let's say you take away 3 hours from your sleep that night, you lose 30% productivity, the next day. It's an exchange. And you can drink coffee, but it's just a band-aid, or you can take stimulants, but it's just a band-aid. And yes, maybe you can make it up on the weekends, but you still have to make it up. So it's all just a trade-off. So it's really about how you want to exchange the sleep. And yes, there are people out there with crazy genetics, like another mutual friend of ours, Abby, who can get away with 4 to 6 hours of sleep every night and be totally fine. So that's 1 out of every 100 people who have that rare genetic trait. And she actually went to Stanford and got that tested, and then they're just trying to add her to a whole database studying people. So I think they're going to follow up with her over the next few years and see how she's been doing, and see if she's kind of at par with her biometrics, and is her body kind of at the same level as people equivalent to her age who don't have the genetic mutation. So it's sleep. Yeah, sleep is really important. Some of the things I wrote here in my notes was, yeah, it's like, Ardell, maybe you can correct me because you know more about car maintenance than I do. But sleeping is actually like getting an oil change at night. It helps drain the plaques that build up in your blood supply in your brain, so that you can sort of clean out your detox your brain and clean out debris and stuff that accumulates in there. And that's they found out recently with better technology to analyze the brain in someone's head, because obviously you can't really go into a living person's brain. Not very many people want to do that. And so the
I would like
technology is
to do
really.
that.
You would like to do that.
Yes, I would love to do that.
Why would you like them to do that?
No, I would like to. What I'm referring to is having the ability to connect to another person and be able to see the world through their thoughts. I mean, you could take all the people in the world, and no two people will see any one item exactly the same way. You know, like the color red,
Yeah.
how you
No,
see
no, yeah,
red
absolutely.
versus how I see red. And I would love to just know how red looks to you or to anyone else. It'd be really neat.
I how many colors can you see on a computer? Isn't it like a million or something like that? I mean, it used to be like 256 colors, right? And then
Yeah,
it went up to.
256, and it really depends on your video card, how many, you
Yeah, I
know.
mean, in the human eye, I mean, it's just, I guess the brain processing power, and I don't know, I can't even guess how intricate
Yeah,
it is. And there's also, it's not just looking at a simple flat color, it's also the memories that are associated with that color, and the focus that I don't know, I don't want to just memories, emotions, and associations, all kinds of different things that you experience with the color. And some people have this condition where they actually can smell color.
yeah, where color has an actual smell to them. But yeah, if you could connect to somebody's brain, I would be willing to to do the connection just to,
So,
I don't
there,
want to read their thoughts,
uh,
but just be able to view things from their perspective.
yeah, yeah, that'd be interesting. And so I guess getting back to sleep, sleep is kind of like an oil change for your brain. Your
Yeah,
brain helps sort of get rid of those plaque buildups in the arteries, so you can operate more effectively. And getting a stroke is actually due to plaque buildup in the brain, and there's various reasons why the plaques build up.
improper
And
brushing.
yeah, you gotta yeah, brush your brain. Uh,
It's like you always see those commercials about plaque buildup. It's like your dentist says you should brush because you get plaque buildup.
or the zombie goes into the dentist for his dentist appointment, and he's like, I don't know, I'm seeing lots of brain caught up in those gaps of your teeth. You haven't been brushing your brains.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, remember
Uh,
brushing.
that wasn't so good.
So
Yeah, yeah,
so with sleep, I know that uh, because you're asleep, you're laying there and inactive. that a lot of doctors, a lot of people in general recommend that you drink a lot of water before bed, or drink water fluids before bed so that you're lubricated. I mean, how
Well,
important is water to you on a daily basis?
I guess yeah, that is the next topic. But connecting with sleep, you might not want to drink too much water right before bed because you'll just end up peeing throughout the night, whether you're in bed or you're getting up to go to the toilet. And water in general is obviously one of the most important nutrients for the body. And as a nutrient, it is very underrated because people don't associate water as a nutrient. In fact, some people are considering making water the fourth macronutrient. So the other three are fat, protein, and carbs. And they're thinking of making water an official fourth nutrient that you add to your daily regimen of calories. I mean, water doesn't have any calories, but and if you don't have it, you're kind of done. So let's
So
see.
you're big on water, I know, and I know that in reading the news recently, there have been a lot of scares and worries about city water.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
Flint,
um,
Michigan, lead.
yeah, Michigan, and basically because of that, other people are worried about their waters and things like that. So, how do you feel about bottled waters?
If it's in glass, it's mostly okay. I mean, well, some of the time it's okay. Plastic is, it's not good. And for multiple reasons. I mean, we were talking about Earth Day. Plastic contributes to some of the. It's one of the big. I think it's the biggest contributor to pollution today. All the plastic, you've probably seen videos and you've probably heard about it, on and on and on. It's definitely a big issue, and there's a lot of uproar about it. And even here in San Jose, where I am, and you are, I'm next to a river, and they actually, when they went in to clean the river, I don't know how long ago, but generally they observe what kind of trash they're picking up, and most of it is plastic bags. And that's one of the things that spurred this plastic bag ban in San Jose and surrounding areas. And San Francisco, I think, has went and gone through with it. And only small business establishments that find a way to be exempt can give you plastic bags. And so, yeah, plastic is a huge issue as far as throwing into the water.
Yeah.
But as far as plastic water bottles, what most of the time what they do, what they should do with the plastic they're using is they create the plastic bottle and they let it sit and off gas for a year so that all the volatile chemicals, the PCBs, and the one that we've heard a lot about because they banned it in a lot of cases, BPA, bisphenol A, and they're supposed to let it off gas for a year. And what they do is they blow the bottle and then fill it like immediately afterwards with water. And so you get all these plastic, like very small plastic xenoestrogens in your plastic water bottle, and your body thinks they are oil because plastic is similar to oils and fats in some ways, very, very generally similar.
Hmm.
And your body thinks it's building blocks for hormones, and it basically fills your body with estrogen, and you get very bizarre effects. Your endocrine system is messed up. Your sleep is affected because your sleep is based off the regulation of hormones like melatonin. It's just a mess. I mean, water is very, very. You got to be really careful with water. It's what most of your body is made of, and it has so many cases that it is polluted and it's tainted. And Flint, Michigan is just one example of something like that. But it just made the news. That's why we all know about it. And there's lead in the water, which is extremely toxic.
So you worried about your local water getting having lead issues?
I don't know about lead, but we had it tested because one of my former roommates, he actually worked for a water treatment facility, and had all the proper channels and proper understanding of how you should test your water, and he had our water where I am tested, and it's I don't know, I can't give a number that will people would understand, but it was 30 times harder than the regular San Jose tap water, and it's I mean I can see it in the buildup, like in the sink, and I have a shower filter in my shower, and you can see the water's murky. It's this apartment complex is on well water, and I don't know. I could go on and
Seriously?
on. Yeah, I could go on and on and
There's
on
a
about it.
well there?
Yeah, we're on a well.
Wow. I had
It's
no idea.
and so we don't drink the water that comes out of the faucet. We don't even filter it. Me and my roommate, we get reverse osmosis water from the store, and it's 49 cents a gallon, which is okay, but uh, yeah, I'm very, very aware of water quality, and
So
uh,
who tested your water?
we had someone come over test it, and they send it to a lab and everything, and then we got the results back, and we were just blown away about how much, you know, I think it was sediments, and then also they had to chlorinate it a lot, and I don't know about the heavy metal that was in it, but we're unusual because we're on a well, and then the rest of San Jose, it's not as hard as our water, but our water is just really
Yeah,
terrible.
they're on city water, I would assume.
Yeah, I forget which reservoir it comes through. I know it's snow water or snow melt,
Hmm.
and then
Okay.
they treat it because they have to, and all the reclaimed water that we use that goes down our drains and stuff. They clean, but they use it for watering lawns and golf courses and stuff.
Yeah, because golf courses are important.
But yeah, yeah.
There's
So water, find some good water. Get a filter. What one of my favorite health gurus I follow, David Wolf. What he said was, if you don't get a filter, your body becomes the filter, and you just starts building up.
oh,
So it's a little fear-based what I'm saying, but my advice is just to find the best water that you can, and just go from there. If you can't, then at least you're aware of it, and then any opportunity that you find.
so
So because
what about using vegetables as a filter?
oh yeah, yeah, one of my notes actually. Thanks for bringing that up. So yeah, you kind of can't get away with this, but it's better than nothing. So you get a lot of water from vegetables, especially the cucumbers, celery, cabbage, anything that's obviously not. I mean, leafy greens obviously as well, but those even fruits and stuff. Watermelon has lots of water in it,
Hmm.
and that water is actually I'm not the right authority to say this, but it's on par with really pure spring water or filtered water because it's filtered by the earth, and the earth there's various charges and chemistry that I'm not fully aware of that's going on there. But when I read about it, it seemed like this is just textbook stuff. This is just what happens when you get water from a vegetable. Like it comes up through the earth, and it's only certain things can make it into the vegetable. Not everything is filtered out. But let's say you get a bunch of veggies, you put it in a smoothie, and you drink the smoothie, and it's 90% water. So you can actually hydrate fairly well. You still need some water that is just you know just water like through a filter or snow melt or glacier or something that's just water
Yeah,
because it takes your body effort to separate the water from the smoothie or separate the water from the coffee or separate the water from the tea. So you really need just water in certain cases.
got it.
But water from a vegetable smoothie or something like that, that's structured water. I mean, that's special water. That water is really, really good because it's filtered and it's also combined with all the phytonutrients and the minerals and the vitamins of the vegetable. So in a lot of ways, you're doing yourself good.
Somebody's walking by. The dogs are going crazy. Release the hounds, Smithers. Uh, it's so Let's move on to the news. Now, time for the news soapbox. So, if unless you've been in a hole, you should know that unfortunately this week we lost a very big name in the music industry. Passed away, Prince, at the age of 57, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah, so
and
sad.
he was doing music since the 1980s till now. I remember his first concert, not his first concert, but one of his first concert tours. He was the opening band for the Rolling Stones, and that's where I found out about him down in Los Angeles. So he will be missed. So, any thoughts on him, Charles?
Yeah, I guess all I have to say is I've heard of him for a long time, and I knew his song, "The Party Until It's 1999" or something. That's the
1999. Charles is very young. You must understand.
Please forgive me. Please forgive me,
No,
Prince
it's
fans.
quite all right. But actually, one of the reasons I brought up Prince is that Prince was a vegan.
Yeah, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people. It's the thing. A lot of people don't know who the vegans are. I mean, there are several different types of vegans. They're the kind that go around telling you they're vegan and everything, and then there are the ones who are just vegans and never really bring it up, never mention it. You know, but he was a vegan, and I wanted to, you know, send a nod, and rest in peace.
Apparently, he was a very private person.
Yes, he was. Which really, now you've seen a lot of celebrity homes. Prince, if you go online and look up and find Prince's house, he basically took an industrial building, like a two-story office building, like a modern style, very rectangular with glass sides,
Hmm.
and he had it converted into a home. It was also a record studio. Also a record studio, but it's his house. It's really weird. It's when you drive up to it, from the outside, you expect to see like the name of a corporation on the side. It looks like a Google building. It does. It looks just like a Google building. You could put his house just about anywhere in the Bay Area, and people would think that it was a new company. That's they would just think it was a new company. It was really wild, and I think that played into his private life is the fact that the exterior of his home was so there was nothing special about it. There was nothing that said this is a house or anything like that. It was the only way you knew it was a house is if you knew, like if somebody told you,
Hmm.
because it was even in an industrial area. Like the other buildings around him were nothing but businesses. They were office buildings.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were just surprised that someone as creative and talented and what is it, the word? He just but versatile as him. Like, how did he come from Minnesota or Minneapolis?
Well, to be honest, Minneapolis, Minnesota has had a lot of really nice things come from it that are kind of underplayed. Like, for instance, Mary Tyler Moore was in Minneapolis, and Prince is from Minneapolis, and the what else is from Minneapolis? Uh, Phil Donahue is, I believe, from Minneapolis. You don't know who Phil Donahue is. Phil Donahue was one of the first people to have like one of those talk shows, sort of like Oprah Winfrey's, right? And
Hmm.
he started that where people started watching all these talk shows. Everyone who did a talk show like Maury Povich and all those shows, they were all based on the Phil Donahue show, and that was
Mm.
from Minneapolis. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, interesting.
Now, I also want to talk about a little historical news, and this actually got me really excited. Is that Harriet Tubman is going to be ousting Andrew Jackson on the $20 bill. Now I've heard some different things like Harriet's going to be on the front
Who
and
is Harriet
Jack's
Tubman again?
going to be on the back, and that's exactly the part I wanted to get to. This is the part that scares me. Is that when I heard Harriet Tubman was going to be on the 20, I got really excited until I ran into a lot of people who went, who's Harriet Tubman?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, and it to me that seemed so frightening. It, I often get people saying things like, why do we need a Black History Month? Why? Isn't history just good enough? Well, apparently not. Apparently history is not good enough if you can walk up to people and say Harriet Tubman and they go, who? Harriet Tubman was a woman who escaped slavery. Okay? Literally escaped the South, escaped the plantation she was on, and went north. And then she turned around and went back down south and helped others to escape. So basically, she became this human train where she would go down. She had already made connections with people like where to hide, places to go, and stuff. And she herself would personally go down there and help people escape to freedom. Right? She
Mm.
knew all the connections, and she also became a spy for the North, where she would give them information on troop movements of the South and et cetera, et cetera. And so she was actually very involved with the North winning the Civil War. In my opinion, I think she was up there. She was very important. Yet most people don't know who she is. Why? Because they don't talk about her in regular history when she should be brought up. I mean, people bring up Andrew Jackson in regular history. They say, well, he was a president. And it's like, okay, fine, he was a president, but he also killed off entire groups, tribes of Indians. If Andrew Jackson were alive today, okay, so to give you an example, because most people don't understand, well, how bad could he have been? Is if Andrew Jackson were alive today and he was running for president, you know how Donald Trump says, "Yeah, we're just gonna kick out all these Mexicans, or
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna stop letting so many people in from the Middle East." Um, Andrew Jackson would have said, "Well, we're just gonna kill them." It's like if they're in the country, we're gonna kill them. His response to 9/11 would have been just kill everyone that's of that same people that's here in our country and don't let any more in. That's how Andrew Jackson would have handled it. So I'm thinking maybe it's good that we get him off the 20 and put somebody on there who help people.
Historically speaking, like as far as the Romans and that era and everything, that's what leaders did. They just went and invaded places and they just killed and raped and pillaged and took over. I mean, it's interesting to think like what historical knowledge that he had. He was like, well, no, this is totally normal. This is what we did in history. This is what
No,
armies
no,
do
and
all the time.
I don't disagree with that. I understand that. I completely understand that. He even wanted to keep slaves. He had slaves, but he was also very much for the keeping of slaves. But he was a pretty brutal guy. But and I understand that that was part of how that was at that time. What I'm saying is that today in 2016 we should want to distance ourselves from stuff like that. We should
Hmm.
want to say, hey, this guy did some good stuff, but he really did some bad stuff. We got to acknowledge that and just maybe let him go. Replace him with a Harriet Tubman. That's all I'm saying. And a Harriet Tubman covers two stones. It actually brings more recognition to things that African Americans have done, and also to show you the power of being a woman. Because she was a woman and she was able to do all that kind of thing. Now, one of the things that somebody said to me when I brought up Harriet Tubman was this, and I said, "This is what she did." They actually said, "Well, I don't think she should really be on the money because she only helped black people." I was like, "Really? Really? That's your answer? That's why she shouldn't be on there?" It was like, because she only helped black people. Okay, okay, I see. Okay. People worry me sometimes.
I think a lot of people worry you right now.
Really.
But that
So
makes
anyhow,
sense.
we're gonna put an article from the New York Times in the record there, and everything. Now, Charles, I got to ask you real quick. Our clock over here, it stopped. It got on a message on it, so it stopped. So my timing is completely off. What are we looking at right now?
Uh, I think we're going at an hour.
Yeah. So anyhow, we're gonna get to the last couple things here because we want to make sure we get this in. Twitter hashtag of the week: Shakespeare 400. Today is William Shakespeare's 400th birthday if he were alive, or even if he was a real person.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
You know, it's like conspiracy people. Shakespeare's not real.
Shakespeare was Francis Bacon.
He was, yeah. And Bacon never went to the moon. Okay, so anyhow, Shakespeare's 400th birthday. That's the Twitter hashtag of the week. Go check it out on Twitter. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on about that. Charles, do we have any
Wisdom.
wisdom of the week?
Oh, wisdom, yes. Well, this alludes back to the water discussion, and I just want to say, find the best water that you can and thrive.
Those are good words to live by. Thrive. You sound a little bit like a medical commercial.
I knew you were going to say that. I was thinking Kaiser. Like, ah.
Yeah, Kaiser Permanente. Okay, so okay. I had to skip over a section here. So, Charles, what are you up to and where can people find you?
Well, I am working for a nonprofit, so that's pretty much what I'm up to, wearing multiple hats, VP of Community Outreach or Public Relations, whichever way you want to spin it. You can find me on Facebook at Healthy Charles, spelled how you would expect, Healthy Charles. And I'm also on Twitter at Charles E.J. Hall. And the website that I'm working for, the website for the nonprofit I'm working for is wholebrainhealth.org, and that is WHOLE, wholebrainhealth.org.
Hey, thank you, Charles. And I'm Ardell Smith, and you can find my blog on the soapbox.show, and Facebook, Ardell Smith Soapbox, and you can find me on Twitter at Ardell Smith. That's first and last name. And if you want more about me, you can go to about.me/Ardell, and you can find my profile and just about every other thing that I'm linked to in the world. And we're working on our Patreon page. Charles and I shot a video that's currently being edited. And just to forewarn you folks, Charles does look like that he's doing a videotape with a blind jazz musician. But I want you to be aware that I am not blind and I am not a jazz musician. So we'll have that up soon, and hopefully you'll find it amusing.
Looking forward to it, Ardell.
You can contact us on. You can contact us and send us feedback. Our email address is feedback@soapbox.show, or you can leave us a voicemail at 650-273-7627. And visit our website at soapbox.show. And don't forget, every single day you make a choice for our planet. Your health I'm not even going to try to do it. Don't forget, every day you can do something good for the planet. Just make the connection between you and the rest of us, okay?
Okay.
See you later.
All right. Bye.